Welcome to Insightful Player. My name is Chrissy Carew, and I'm a personal and business coach and the founder of Insightful Player. Now, Insightful Player is a very bold movement of hope that's been created to inspire you. We feature high-integrity NFL players, both current and former, that tell their own personal story of hope. They really are wonderful human beings and magnificent role models. And in just a couple weeks, the Insightful Player book is coming out. You can read it, get it on Amazon.com as a pre-order, or you can visit InsightfulPlayer.com and click on the link there. And while you're waiting, you can go visit InsightfulPlayer.com because we have the abbreviated versions of all their stories there that will really inspire you. And we'd love to know which stories you really connect with. And we will just have those players on and on and on again. All right? So thank you for joining. We're so happy to have you here. Insightful Player is so committed to offering resources to all their fans and in particular kids. And if you could please gather up your kids and get them to watch this show, we'd really love for them to meet the players and chat with the players because they really want to chat with you. So tonight we have on one of my favorite people I've ever met since I started Insightful Player, Dr. Bill Chahkes, known as Dr. Football. I have never in my life, now remember, I grew up with the connoisseur of football. My father was like amazing. He was a scholar. He knew everything about football and he was a coach. But I have never met anyone like Bill, Dr. Bill, or Dr. Football. He's brilliant. He knows everything about the game. And he is connected to all parts of the game. I mean, he's been watching football since he was 5. Let's hear this again. 5 years old. And my goodness, you gotta go see him on Football Reporters Online every Thursday night. Bill, forgive me. I think it's 8 p.m., 8 to 10 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. It's 9 to 11 p.m., Coach.
See? All right, it's 9 to
Eastern.
11. I knew
Eastern time.
Eastern, yes, Eastern time. It's a wonderful show. It's filled with all kinds of guests. They have experts in football, from scouting to quarterbacks to everything about football, collegiate, professional, spread all over the country. And it's the most dynamic show that has ever been. In fact, they're in the top 50 in the whole world. And they've had over 2 million viewers watch their show. People can't get there fast enough. I'm surprised your server hasn't crashed with all the people visiting your show.
It has crashed a couple of times, Coach. We're a radio show, so it's listeners, it's not viewers. But we're pretty proud of the fact that we hit 2 million in just a little over 3 years. It's been a lot of work, and we do 3 shows now. We do, besides our original Thursday show, we do our Tuesday night show, which is just Jets and Giants because we're based in the New York area. And then our Wednesday night show with our partners at the Beyond Sports Network focuses a little more on high school and college athlete networking and athlete training. And, we try to teach the kids the right way to train and the wrong way to train. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. One of the big things right now, and we saw it in last night's Philadelphia-Atlanta game, is the hits to the head and the tackling above the waist. Tackle should be above, between the waist and the shoulders and not below the knees or above the neck. And we saw a couple of penalties with that in last night's game. This is something we work very closely with because we're trying to help prevent injuries. And that's part of the reason why we also have a lot of outreach with the Retired Players Association. And we've had numerous retired NFL players come on the show and talk about the damage that was done because they didn't know any better through all these years of, hitting their head on the turf.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I mean, I've seen a lot of articles about some of those players. That is really tough. And you're a real advocate of those retired players. Can you tell us more about that, Dr. Bill?
Sure. One of the founders of the movement is Carl Eller, the former Minnesota Viking defensive end, and he is the president of the Retired Players Association. And they're currently in a lawsuit with the NFL Players Union which is not really a union anymore. It's a trade association, the NFL Players Association, because they have basically taken a lot of money out of the retirees' pockets and not given it to them. And, there's a whole lot of stuff going on between some of the more vocal current players and these retired players like Mr. Eller, like Brent Boyd, who's also a former Viking, Joe DeLamielleure, who played for the Buffalo Bills, a couple of other players come to mind, Sam Huff, the Giant and Redskin great. These are all players that are involved in that movement that are trying to get better benefits for the current retirees.
So how's it going? I mean, where is it? Where does it stand right now? And how could that have happened to have that money taken out of their pockets? That's so wrong.
Well, everybody talks about the former head of the Players Association, Gene Upshaw, and he was an excellent player in his day, but he really wasn't somebody who looked out for the retired players monetarily wise or insurance wise either, and that's how a lot of this happened. And they have a lawsuit going on right now. They're in litigation with the I do believe it's Susan Nelson, the judge in Minnesota in the Minnesota Federal District Court, who is the same judge that heard the case between, with the lockout, with the players with the lockout.
Right. Wow. Is there anything we can do as fans to support this, or our viewers?
You can go to the Retired Players website. It's rpa.org.
RPA?
Retiredplayers.org. I'll send you those links, and I'm sure they could use the help. And I will put you in touch with Michael Hausfeld, who's the lead attorney, because I'm sure he would be able to get you a couple of players to come on Insightful Player and talk about them.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. So it's rpa.org, everybody. RetiredPlayersAssociation.org. Please go check it out and see what maybe you can do. Because, we're in a day and age where we all have to come together and support each other. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I'm glad they have your support. So with you being such the connoisseur of football, and where do you want to begin now? We're going to talk about, Football's Reporter Online. We want to talk more about the draft. I'd like to touch more upon the whole injury thing and preventing of injury. And I know you talked about some kind of new equipment out, new helmet perhaps, that is being looked at that could really make a difference.
There's actually two developments in the helmet area, in the head protection area. One is a former Harvard graduate. He played for Harvard's football team as a quarterback. Dr. Vin Ferrara, he's the head of the Zenith Corporation, and they put together the Zenith X1 helmet, which is probably the safest helmet out there for youth football and high school football and college football players to be wearing. It is, and I'm showing you the description with my hands around my head. It's not any different on the outside than most helmets, but it has, if you remember the old Nike sneakers that used to be able to pump up with an air pump about 10 years back, this is the same thing. You're able to air pump into certain chambers within the helmet.
Wow.
Extra cushion support. Very important to protect the head. And the other thing that's big time that's going on is there's a company out in Missouri called Battle Sports Science, and they've come up with a device called the II, the Impact Indicator, and this thing goes into your chin guard. And the Detroit Lions' Ndamukong Suh, the defensive lineman who was drafted last year, Mr. Suh is wearing this. It's inside his chin strap, and if he takes a hit too hard, it sends data to a trainer on the sideline, to his PDA or his Android phone or his Apple iPhone, telling him that the player is at risk for concussion.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a brand new thing that's first being tested out this year for the very first time. They're also using it with some hockey players in the National Hockey League. I'm not sure how many. I think there are about 5 or 6 players in the NHL that are wearing it.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to help detect concussion.
That's wonderful. And so I'm really glad to hear that this new technology to really protect our athletes, because, just like you said with these retired athletes, that, They have all kind of brain injuries and all kinds of bodily
Spinal injuries.
Yes, yes.
The big thing are head, spine, and neck. And
Yeah.
talking with another former Minnesota Viking, Brent Boyd, who leads DignityAfterFootball.org, and he has a very active Facebook page, which myself and a lot of other journalists take part with him also. Brent played 8 years with the Vikings, and Brent has CTE and post-concussion syndrome because he hit the turf so many times, and that the helmet was just of no protection.
Oh, that is so sad. That is so sad. So what will it take for everybody to just jump on board and get more research and get more equipment like that helmet you mentioned?
We really need to get more doctors involved, because a lot of the doctors that work for the NFL and work for the NFL teams have spent their time trying to refute this. And how can you legitimately look somebody in the eye and say, you have this post-concussion syndrome, but it has nothing to do with you playing football?
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible.
That's what they're doing.
So we need to recruit some doctors. We need to recruit some doctors with integrity that have a passion for this, that would really like to jump on board and help out. So doctors, if you're listening, get in touch with Dr. Bill, right?
Right. AskDrFootball@gmail.com.
Yeah, Ask Dr.
And I can direct you from there.
Yeah, AskDrFootball@gmail.com. Excellent. Thank you. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
And this has been going on for years, Coach. This is not anything new. This has been going on for years, and it's only last year that Commissioner Goodell came out and said, okay, maybe there is a link between constant contact and post-concussion syndrome.
I know one of my Insightful players had like 5 concussions, and I was so happy when he retired,
He needs to go get tested. He needs to see a neurologist and get tested.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking with a former Dallas Cowboy and Minnesota Viking a couple of weeks ago, and he asked me not to use his name on the air, so I won't. But he's a young man. He's only 35 years old, and he's in the technical, he's in the tech side of the business now, and he does a lot of stuff with servers. And we were having a conversation on the phone about the technology, and he started to slow down his speech. And I said, is everything okay? And he said, it's just from getting one hit too many in the head. And I said to him, name deleted, you're 34 years old, and you haven't seen a neurologist yet from this?
Wow.
And he said, no, not yet. I said, well, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a stroke or something?
Wow.
So, a lot of these guys, right.
Oh, so go ahead.
And we're putting more education programs in place. I know when I speak to a lot of the youth groups, because I do coaching compliance for police athletic league teams here where I live on Long Island through USAFootball.com, and I go and I speak to a lot of parents and a lot of parent coaches, and I tell them we absolutely have to protect against head and neck and spinal injury. And this is the most important thing. We have to teach kids the correct way to tackle. That you're not tackling somebody's head with your arms. You're using your arms and wrapping up a tackle from the waist up or from the shoulders down. It's all very important. Basic technique.
That sounds really valuable. How many people are aware of that? Because if I'm a parent listening right now and I have my child in, any kind of sport like football, I'm going to want to take him out, right? I'd be so concerned about his safety and his health.
Well, but by the same token, there are so many parents that they're yelling at the kids, and they're telling them, you get that kid on the other team at any cost. I don't care how you have to tackle him, and it's not really the right way. I have the video clip from 2 years ago of a youth football league in Colorado where the kid, completely away from the play, grabbed another kid by his face mask and twisted his helmet off. Put this kid in the hospital for 2 days with a neck injury, with a sprained neck and a bulging, damaged disc. And, the kid who performed the incident, that's nothing, the kid didn't do anything wrong. He was playing how he was supposed to be playing. No, your son went completely away from the play, 30 feet away from the play to hit a kid who scored a touchdown on the last 2 possessions to take him out of the game. And this is what we're talking about. This is what we're trying to legislate out of the game. That's why I'm not mad when they throw these penalty flags on these helmet-to-helmet collisions. I get mad when the referees don't realize, or when they miss a play, and when they don't realize what is a bad tackle, what is a helmet-to-helmet collision, what is a tackle below the waist, what is a helmet to a knee, what is a helmet to a side, what is a helmet to a spine. These are all dangerous things that have to be legislated out of the game. And if you go look at what college football is doing right now with that, especially at the lower level, I shouldn't say lower levels, at the FCS level, the Division I AA level and Division II level, what they're trying to do to protect the players. It's the same thing the NFL did by moving up the kickoffs 5 yards. College did the same thing. They moved up the kickoffs 5 yards, but once contact is made from the other team, that's the tackle, and the ball is dead. And there are some people that are complaining and saying, that's taking football out of football, but we're saving some lives. We're really being very careful, and we're saving some athletes' lives so that they can go on. When they're done playing football, they can go on and have a normal life and work a career and have kids.
Wow, we should get someone like values.com. Have you ever been to that site, or find some sponsor that will be, to do some educational advertisements that have meaning to help educate these people about the value of this and how important it is, because saving lives is hugely significant, to say the least. I mean,
well, again, I spoke. I spoke to the officials group, the NCAA officials group, for the East Coast a couple of weeks ago, and that's exactly what I said in my speech. I told them, I said, listen, you guys have the toughest job on the field. You have to legislate the game, you have to protect the players, and you have to follow the rule book. And the only person you have helping you is the supervisor of officials up in the press box. And, all he has is a notepad and a pair of binoculars. It's not like the NFL where there's a replay official where they could buzz down and they could say, I saw something, da-da-da, this and that. The referee has, they're quarantined, not allowed to use their cell phones 24 hours before the game. The only person they're allowed to have contact with is their supervisor of officials. And the only person he's allowed to have contact with is the director of officials over him. So it's very, very isolated. The coaches can't necessarily grab a referee after a game and complain, hey, you missed a call. They get fined for that.
Wow. Interesting. So do you have any of these resources? I mean, you go out and speak. Is there anything on your Football Reporter online website, or do you have any resources where we can send people?
We do on that site, and we also do it on our New York City site, ProFootballNewYorkCity.com. We talk to youth groups that the Jets and the Giants speak to. In fact, I spoke to a group. We didn't get to do anything this year because of the shortened preseason, because of the lockout. But last year, I spoke to a youth group up in Albany during Giants training camp, and that was at the behest of the Giants organization. They asked a bunch of youth coaches who were up there, who were attending, to speak, and I was privileged to be in the presence of one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football, Bob Ford, who is the head coach of the University of Albany. And I've told him numerous times that I know a lot of people he's put into college and professional football, probably about 30 guys. And he said, "Oh, you're too kind, Dr. Bill." And I said, "Well, we don't have guys like you teaching, guys like my age what, the real values are in the sport. We don't have anybody to pass it down to." And, that's very important for me, especially with our internship program at Football Reporters Online, that I go out and I find, these 20-somethings who are in college or recent college graduates who want to get involved in sports media. But I give them not just the media side, I give them the scouting side, and I give them the coaching side. And we explain, how the three interact and what's very important. And never has it not been too important to remember the 5 W's when you're interviewing somebody: who, what, where, when, how, and of course why. The 5 W's and the H.
You're right. That is so important. And it's great how you bring in these young whippersnappers that are still in school. And I'm so glad they had you leading them and mentoring them, because you add so much depth. You know, it's the quality of every area of football, you know, and the character and, you know, the ethics and integrity, which is what you represent, which is why I admire you so much.
And that's why I like working with you, Coach, because you do such a great job with Insightful Player. You bring into, you know, your show and your website and the book the players that we enjoy interviewing, because these are guys, you know, like Myron Lewis that we talked about. You've had him on recently. I had him on a few months back. That's a quality individual, you know. That's
Absolutely.
unfortunately, that's not Adam Jones. Fortunately, that's not Adam Jones, who goes to a strip club and throws $5,000 in singles up in the air to the dancers.
Right.
These are guys that are really trying to make a difference in their communities, much like your buddy Vince Wilfork with the Patriots, who's also doing
Yes.
some stuff with diabetes also, you know,
Yes,
and we just ran his article this weekend as well. You know, we like to be the outreach for some of these athletes. We tell them and we tell their PR people, keep us involved. Let us know what's going on. And, you know, we'll do everything we can to make sure we continue to promote that. Because people are tired of seeing, you know, the police splatter. People are tired of seeing guys get arrested. People want to know about what the guys are doing that are helping the community and helping the people around them, not you know, did he get pulled over for DUI? Did he have a fight in a bar? Did he hit his girlfriend or his wife? You know, is he separated from his wife and not seeing his children? People don't want to hear that. People are tired. People are tired of that.
Right, and it just spirals everyone down, and the percentage of players that get into trouble is microscopic in comparison to all the good guys in pro athletes. And most of them are under the radar, because they don't lead their lives looking for PR. They do it because they care about others and want to contribute.
Right. And we have too many, and you know this, Coach. We have too many people in my side of the business that want to go after the story because it's for sensationalism. You know, one of our taglines is we dig deeper for the story, but we want to get the good story out. You know, so
Right.
to me, interviewing Joe Klecko as we did and running his Facebook campaign to get him into the Hall of Fame, because Joe Klecko is a guy who stands for a lot of good things and he wants to be helpful around society. And his partner, Marty Lyons, also from the Jets, has his Marty Lyons Foundation. And I'll just throw out, he did a really good thing for a young lady and her daughter who's very sick. And Ann Rose and I my wife and I happen to know the family because the mom works with Ann Rose. He gave her a cruise because she's probably not going to make it another 12 months. She has a really, really bad form of muscular dystrophy that, is going to kill her before she reaches age 15. And all she wanted to do was go on a cruise and see the ocean. And Marty said, you know what? I can make this happen for this young lady. And he gave them a 7-day cruise.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. And there are a lot of people like, Marty doing lovely things like that. And
yes.
We don't hear about it. And we
don't.
I think we don't. And we need to really get the media to knock it off and get them to open up and expand their perspective.
Because and the problem is, and you know this, and I know this, and obviously your fantastic PR guy, Tom, knows this, and even our producer, JD, he knows this. It's all about sensationalism in this business. And, that's something we have to get away with, is sensationalism for the negativism.
Right.
For the negativism.
So we need to bring positive stories and add entertainment to the mix so we can create our own healthy sensationalism to get more kids excited and to learn about these players, because a lot of them laugh off some of their challenges, and a lot of them, have such an expanded perspective and use humor as one of the ways to help them grow. So we can create our own sensationalism that has depth, right?
Right. Now, I'll give you a perfect example of that, where you brought up humor to laugh off the troubles. A lot of the guys here in New York, they do sports comedy at a couple of comedy clubs with a touring comedy troupe, and we cover those every so often. And Antro Roll from the Giants did a really good session last year at one of the comedy clubs. And when you talk about athletes who may not necessarily be always be on as the funniest people in the world, Antro did a really good job. And again, it was all for charity. At the end of the day, it was for the Samaras Children's Fund, and which is another charity that we follow and cover very closely.
Wow, you're doing a lot of beautiful work in the world, Dr. Bill. It's amazing. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit more about Football Reporters Online?
Well, it's
a wonderful, wonderful show.
Thank you so much, Coach. It's a good show. We try to bring 2 hours of fan-based, hard-hitting, but factual-based information about the NFL and college football, and sometimes we get into high school football as well. We do more of that on our Wednesday show with my partners at the Beyond Sports Network. We focus a little more on high school and developmental ball and the lower levels of college. We have our Players of the Week. We have our All-American lists. Of course, we do what used to be called the Gridiron Draft Guide. It's now called the Pro Draft Report, which comes out at the beginning of every April, a couple weeks before the NFL draft. And we evaluate about 800 players that are eligible for the draft in that publication. And it's not a print book yet. We had hoped to do that this year, but that didn't quite work out. So we're shooting for next year. But it is a digital PDF book. And it's grand total sets you back $10, and we send it out to you usually within a day or two of when it's ready. And this is something that I've gotten email from coaches and scouts that say, hey, how do we get you guys on contract? Because this is good stuff. This is exactly what we saw in our scouting when we looked at this player, and one of the really nice emails I had was from the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, Mark Trestman, who was the former offensive coordinator of the 49ers. And he said, Dr. Bill, he said, I wish I could afford to hire you on my staff. And I said, yeah, except I don't know if I want to relocate to Montreal so quick, but, I'm sure we could work something out.
Yes, and I'm not surprised because, it's encyclopedic. Everything you guys do is you take it as far as it can go, You trailblaze. You are a trailblazer.
I'm very happy that I have a great staff, and as we talked before we went on the air, of course, a couple of the guys have been friends of mine for over 4 decades. Ralph Garcia is our Southeastern correspondent, and we played high school football against each other in New York City in the 1970s. And at the same time that I was serving in the Army, he was serving in the Navy. But we always wanted to do this, and he's really. We're both very good defensive minds when it comes to football. I was also a kicker, so I do the special teams stuff. We have a couple of other guys, of course, Bill Carroll, who was a defensive back at Norfolk State and then served in the United States Army with the 75th Ranger Regiment, and he was involved in Panama. And then he was a graduate assistant coach at the University of Illinois. He's really our research expert. He pulls stuff. If you could really believe there's somebody that can research deeper than me, it's Bill Carroll. When he goes back, he finds players and things that happened back in the 40s before any of us were alive. Then we have my buddy John Fennelly, who I run Pro Football New York City with. Not a more consummate media professional will you find, especially talking about the Jets and the Giants. And then, of course, my senior writer, John Wagner, who's always on top of every single game. I don't know how he does it, but I think he's got 3 TVs in his house, and he's got his cell phone going and his laptop at the same time, because he writes me about 3 or 4 articles a week on what's going on, not just here in New York, but all around the league. He did a great job when he was our college writer, but I kind of moved him off that and got him doing the pro stuff. Because I have some younger guys doing college now. I have Anthony Carrillo, who we call the mini Mel Kiper of our team. Anthony was a very successful high school and college coach, but unfortunately his dad got very sick, and he had to leave school and come home to help out, help run the family business. So he finished his education online, and he's very involved he does our Heisman Trophy watch and our top 25, and he's our Big East conference specialist. And then I have Matt Marino working with us. Matt is our play representative specialist. Matt gets into a lot of stuff because he works for an agency. He gets into a lot of stuff with player-agent relationships and, what players need to do to get themselves discovered.
Wow.
Find an agent and get themselves recruited. Get themselves hired by a professional team. It's all. People have to remember it's a business. It's all about a job.
Right. It certainly is. It certainly is. So, athletes and fans got to go to Football Reporters Online. You will not believe how compelling, the stories and the live interviews on the radio every Thursday night from 8 to 10. It's amazing. It's a jaw dropper for me. And again, I grew up with athletes, so it's,
and you've been a great guest with us twice, Coach. So we're looking forward to having you back on in the near future. But we had Ray Sherman on recently, and he was most recently a Dallas Cowboys assistant. But he's had 36 years in coaching, including 23 in the NFL. And we had him scheduled 30 minutes, and he stayed with us for an hour. So
wow.
when I get a guy like Coach Sherman who's willing to give up an hour of his time, to talk football strategy with us, I'm very happy. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and it's because of who you guys are that they don't want to leave, and that's how I felt when I was on the show too. It's just great. So, Football Reporters Online, everybody, you got to go every Thursday night, and also read their articles. They're amazing. You're going to learn things you never knew, and you're going to
We did a piece last year. We did a piece last year on Jamie Dukes at the NFL Network, who's a former Tampa Bay and Atlanta offensive lineman, and Jamie had a bariatric procedure, and he lost 115 pounds because he was about 360 and he was headed for a heart attack. So we had him on to talk about that, but we also had him on to talk about football, obviously, and he gave us some great insights. And, he had said afterwards, he emailed me, and he said, listen, I'm more than willing to come on with you guys anytime. You guys were great. You were just the right mix of what we were trying to get out as far as public relations for what I'm doing, with the surgery, and I'm trying to get a bunch of guys to, have the surgery to save their lives and football talk. He said, and you guys really took it home and kept it in the forefront. And Jamie was instrumental in getting Rex Ryan to have the same surgery.
Really interesting. That's
Although, unfortunately, Coach Ryan is cheating a little bit sometimes, as we saw in Hard Knocks last year with the M&Ms.
Right, he loves those M&Ms, doesn't he? Well, I never knew that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow, incredible. Now, I know we have to watch your time because you're going to be covering the Giants game coming up shortly tonight.
Tonight, we have Giants Rams. I have a little more time though, Coach. We're okay. I'm watching the clock.
Okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
I know. I want also another way. I want everyone to know about what a trailblazer you are, about this big event that you're creating in March. Do you want to go there now? Tell them about that.
Sure, why not? With my partners at the Beyond Sports Network, and that's www.beyondsportsllc.com. And we have 3 networks. We have a high school network, we have a college network, and we have a pro network. But we are hosting the first ever BSN Collegiate Showcase at the Style Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Akron, and that is March 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we will have 200 of the top players from the FCS, which is Division I AA, Division II, Division III, and the NAIA. This is no Division I players allowed. Division I players, they get the NFL Combine, they get all their private workouts. They have plenty of opportunities to show NFL scouts what they're doing. This is for the guys that don't get those opportunities. And we're going to have scouts from every single NFL team. We're going to have 100 of the top media outlets in the country. The Cleveland Plain Dealer is signed on to this. We're hoping to get the Washington Post, several writers from here in New York. But one of the most compelling things about this is we're about to wrap up a contract with Clear Channel to broadcast this on iHeartRadio the entire 3 days. It'll probably be about 10 hours of broadcasting.
Oh, that's so exciting. That is so incredible. What a wonderful opportunity for these kids. And look at the respect you gained. All the NFL teams and the media, they want to see these kids because they know there's a lot of talent there. That is awesome. This must make you feel so good. What a contribution.
Well, funny story I had with a Green Bay Packers scout that I'm friendly with. And, he said to me, Dr. Bill, I don't want to get shut out because the last event you guys did, it was only me and 2 other guys. There were only 3 scouts there. Now you're talking about 100 guys. And I said, well, don't worry. Everybody's on the same level playing field. And, everybody's going to get the same information. And, we're working very hard to set that up, player interviews. And, of course, I'm doing a lot of the stuff with the media outreach to the Football Writers of America Association and the National Sportscasters and Sports Writers Association are the 2 fraternal groups that I'm with in regards to sports media. And, I've spoken to both Steve Richardson at FWAA and Dave Warren at NSSA. And we've talked about, that we want to get a really good media push for this thing, and we want it covered because we believe that these are the players. You're seeing more and more of these players in the NFL, and I'll give you the perfect example. Cleveland Browns, Armand Smith made the 53-man roster. He's the 3rd running back from a small school, Kentucky Union, Division II school. Nobody knew who he was. We knew who he was because we were tracking him. And for every compelling story at the big schools, like the Michael Lower story, The Blind Side, which is a great story, and Michael's a great guy. But for every story like that with Michael, there is a story with, a smaller school, a group of younger kids.
Absolutely.
Don't have the same outreach. Perfect example of that, right here local to me, Fordham University. John Skelton, he's now a backup quarterback with the Cardinals, but he played at Fordham. In a state, in a field with 4,000 seats, and
Amazing.
He lit it up, right? And he lit it up in the Patriot League, and everybody said, "Wow, he's playing against inferior competition. How can he make the NFL?" Well, he made the NFL because he's talented,
right.
And that's our job at FRO and the Pro Football Draft Report to spot these players that most people don't necessarily know or find out about.
That's amazing. You'll have to have Rashid Davis on your show because he was playing at a junior college, and
that's right.
Hadn't even played football till then, and then he ended up playing for the Arena League for like 5 years.
Right.
And
right.
And
I'll give you I'll give you a few names. I'll throw out a few names really quick of guys that we're looking at.
Okay.
There's a young man who went to college in Canada and played his college football in Canada, and his name is Mike Montoya. And Mike is going to be playing arena football this coming year for the Chicago Rush. But he was the number 1 running back in Canadian college football in 2009. He had about 1,400 rushing yards. And he's been in camp with the Arizona Cardinals, and he's worked out in the United Football League for Sacramento, Las Vegas, and Hartford. And he's finally going to have an opportunity to show at a professional level that he belongs in professional football, and we're very excited for him. And another guy, Trevor Anderson, who played at the University of Albany, and he was signed to the Virginia Destroyers in the United Football League. Unfortunately, he is hurt right now, so he didn't play the first week, but we're hoping he comes back for week 3. And he's a very imposing 6'3", 270-pound defensive end. So look for his name, to hear his name quite a bit. And another one of our guys who played for the Cardinals and the Eagles, and he's local hometown kid here on Long Island. He played at Lehigh University, Adam Bergen. And, Adam is doing very well with Las Vegas in the UFL, but he's been around the block more than a few times in the NFL as well. So these are all great stories. Adam has a foundation called 87 Plays, where he's building playgrounds in the Las Vegas area for kids.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, I'd love to learn about all 3 of those guys. And do you have stories about them on your site?
Not recently, but I could throw you some links. I have some stuff from the last year, 9 to 12 months back, where we did some of those stories.
Okay, great. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them. So anything
Yeah,
else?
Trevor goes back. Trevor played at St. Raymond's High School in the Bronx, and he goes back every year and he does a clinic for the St. Raymond's football team. So that's something. That's how he gives back to the community where he grew up.
Right. There are so many of them giving back, and we all need to know about it.
Right.
It's just amazing because most of them are under the radar, like these three players that you're talking about, and I think the world needs these kind of inspirational stories, and I wish we could start some kind of positive and peaceful revolution with the media.
Well, I think you're doing a pretty good job, Coach. I think you're doing a pretty good job so far.
Well, thank you. We need a lot more, and a lot more of these stories out in the world, because Insightful Player is just the tip of the iceberg, not even, so thank you. Anything else you want to share about what you're up to and any of your trailblazing efforts? Again, I'm watching your time because I know you have to get ready for the game.
No, that's basically about it. That's basically about it, and I appreciate getting to spend the time with you today and working through all the technical difficulties. I had a great time. I hope we can do it again in the near future. I will definitely keep you abreast of everything we're doing and what's going on. We run a series of combines for players. We usually start in late October, early November, and they go all the way through the beginning of April, where we travel around different parts of the country and we work out the players in small groups of 25 to 40, so we could have a better time evaluating them as opposed to looking at players in groups of 100 or 150.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that. College players?
College players. But we do some high school stuff also. We have a high school. We did a high school thing not long ago in Virginia. We have another one coming up here for Long Island. The first week in October, we'll be doing testing. It'll basically be for 6 different high schools here on Long Island, but it'll be a central location.
Excellent. That's amazing. I'd love to have a conversation with you to hear more about that.
Well, we got to have you come down. We're going to have you come down and see some of the stuff because, there's also a teaching component where we talk to the athletes and, try to educate them on, what they need to know, the educational part of football and, the behavioral part. I think I could make a lot of money if I wrote a book on how athletes should engage with Facebook and Twitter on a professional level.
I bet you could. Yes.
Yeah, so we don't have some of these Rashad Mendenhall talking about the 9/11 never happening kind of things, because that was really rough.
Well, we got to get you on the worldwide stage, Bill. You have so much to share with on so many different levels, that all there is to it. So we're going to come back on Insightful Player TV as much as you want. I love having you here, and I'm sure the viewers are going to just cherish this interview because you have so much wisdom to share. And
well, I really enjoy spending time with you, Coach. I'm really grateful to spend the time with you, and I'm basically going to go get ready now and go cover the Giants-Rams tonight, and hopefully the Giants don't embarrass themselves too bad.
Okay. All right, I'll be watching. I'll be looking for you in the crowd.
I won't be in the crowd. I'll be in the press box, but if there's a camera near me, I'll wave to you.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, you have a good time. And
all right, thanks so much, Coach.
Okay, you're the best.
All right, take care. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye, Dr. Bill. Okay, everyone. Dr. Bill is unbelievable. I am so grateful I have met him. I met him over a year and a half ago now, and he's so resourceful. He's such a great guy. He is such a trailblazer, contributing so much to so many. So you got to check out Football Reporters online, and you got to look at their articles. You got to go watch their radio show every Thursday night from 9 to 11. You won't believe it. It's a jaw dropper. You're going to learn so much. It's incredible. So keep your eye on this guy. He should be in the Hall of Fame, and maybe we could all do something about that. Get him into the NFL Hall of Fame and the College Hall of Fame. Why the heck not? he could put a lot of people to shame that are in a Hall of Fame compared to what he knows and how much he contributes. So, again, thank you. Dr. Football, Dr. Bill Chahkes is going to be back again. And next week, we're going to have Ken Harvey, the Hall of Fame Redskins, former player. And please visit InsightfulPlayer.com and look at the players, read their stories, let us know who you want us to have on, and we'll get them on to meet you, and we want you to chat with them. And check out the book. It's finally ready. This has been such a long journey. I'm so excited. The book will be out in a couple of weeks, but you can go to InsightfulPlayer.com and learn more about it. And also you can go to Amazon.com and search for Insightful Player. So I wish you all a wonderful week. And, please let us know who you want to have on the show, and we'll go out and get them. So thanks for tuning in. I am most grateful. And thank you, Dr. Bill. You're the best. Bye-bye, everyone.